Welcome to the Master Passive Income Show. My name is Dustin Heiner, and I'm here to help you learn how to quit that JOB, that just over broke job, by investing in real estate so you never, ever have to work a job again. Today, I'm super pumped to bring on my student's student. Yeah, you heard that right. I am bringing on my student's student who now has, in 3 months, successfully bought 6 rental property units and now is making a couple $1,000s a month in passive income from these properties, and we're going to show you how you can do it too. All right, let's start the show.
Welcome to the Master Passive Income Podcast, where we talk about investing in real estate rental properties with a special focus on making enough money so you can quit your job and live the dream life. And now, here is your host, Dustin Heiner.
Hey, what's up, guys? Super exciting to have you here on the show with me today as I'm bringing on my students. So you guys know I have been coaching real estate investing for quite a while now. We have a couple hundred students. It's so awesome to see people's lives change. And I coached a student. His name was Charles Rose Jr., and he's just done amazingly well. Blew me out of the water as far as like how I completed, buying enough properties to be able to quit my job. Charles is doing an amazing job. And with that, I brought him on as a coach because he's doing such a great job and he has a passion. He loves it. He has a passion just like I do to see people become successful investing in real estate. And now we're bringing on his student who in 3 months has bought 6 units, and he almost even bought all 3 of them on the same day, closing on the same day. It is super phenomenal what you can do. Number one, when you have a system, basically a step-by-step process, and Leo will explain how he did it as well as somebody walking you through the process. Now, I will say that I love coaching students. In fact, it's really, really fun. But I found that my time is literally running out. I don't have enough time in the day to coach students. So I'll be completely honest with you and say probably by September-ish, I'm going to be pulling out of doing the one-on-one coaching because I just don't have enough time in the day. I have the group coaching as well. I have the Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference and so many other businesses and all my real estate investing going on. I can't devote the time that I want to for my one-on-one coaching students. But if you want to join me in the one-on-one coaching before I cancel, and with that on Friday, so you're listening to this whenever it drops, on Friday, I'm literally having to raise the price $1,000 because I'm getting so many students. I just can't keep them all. I love knowing my students. I love seeing where they are, getting them the next step. I don't want to jump on a call with a one-on-one coaching student and say, okay, remind me your name and remind me what property, where are you at? I don't want that. I really want to know my students, become friends. And obviously that's how Charles became a student and then a coach because he's a friend of mine. He's a good guy. And so I was like, man, you're great. Let's bring you on. And so I only take on about 12 students at a time. Right now I have spot for, I think 2 more. No, I have 3 more spots. I had a student just sign up on Thursday of last week. So I have 2 more spots left. And so before the price goes up on Friday, if you go to masterpassiveincome.com/coaching, or go to my website, masterpassiveincome.com, go to the top, hit coaching, and there's a one-on-one coaching link. Then you'll be able to sign up. As soon as you enroll, you literally get access to everything. There's a video in there walking you through what you get as well. But I found in the one-on-one coaching, I get like 95% success rate from all of my students because they are encouraged. They have the step-by-step process. There's no analysis paralysis. We are literally walking you through the process as well. I love coaching with students who are bought in. And you know what's interesting is I've literally given away my courses, my coaching to friends and family members. And do you know how many, dozens of people I've given away to? And I'm going to ask a question rhetorically because I'll tell you the answer. But I have given it away at least dozens of times. Do you know how many people have actually completed it and actually become successful? Zero. And it's really, really sad because they don't have skin in the game. If I'm going to learn how to play the guitar, I'm going to buy the most expensive guitar. In fact, that's literally what I did when I was in college. Didn't have any money, but I wanted to learn how to play the guitar. A really good friend of mine who said, hey, Dustin, if you want to play the guitar and you want to learn, do not buy that $100 guitars you find at a pawn shop. It's going to play horrible. It's going to sound horrible. You're going to hate it. And it's only $100. So you're just going to say, no big deal. But what I did, and he suggested, buy that $3,000 guitar. And this was, 2004. $3,000 in 2004 with inflation now with all at least 10, 12%. It was probably somewhere $5,000, if today's dollars, I don't know. I'm just guessing. But I bought that. And every time I saw that box, that case that the guitar was in, I realized that's $3,000 just sitting there and it's wasting away. I better learn. So I made myself do it. And on top of that, finish that thought. I made myself play the guitar. But on top of that, if you go to college, you're basically going to college, you're paying somebody hundreds of thousands of dollars or an organization, and you're paying them to hopefully teach you something, but then you get a degree, you get a piece of paper. You're not guaranteed money from that. You're not guaranteed anything. In fact, when you take that degree, you're going to go to your job, and try to get a job. Let's say you get a career. Well, the saying holds true. It's not if you lose your job, it's when you're going to lose your job. And on top of that, you cannot give your job to your kids. You can't, it's not generational wealth. They have to earn it. They're not going to just get it for free. With your rental properties, you will literally give it to them. And the small cost of coaching is just a way to get you in the door so you become serious. So I have so many students. I want to see you in there before I raise the prices, and definitely before I stop doing the one-on-one coaching. Again, go to masterpassiveincome.com/coaching. And on the link in the description, you'll see that as well. But get that right away. I want to see you succeed. But first come, first serve, just like I said. Now let's jump into today's show where I interview Lee Goff, who is also with me, Charles Rose Jr., and we interview Lee together. And it is a fantastic time where he is just sharing all of his wins and successes in 3 months, getting 6 units. Just imagine that for yourself. All right, here we go. Here is Lee, myself, and Charles Rose Jr. Lee, thank you so much for being here on the show.
You're welcome. I'm excited to be here.
Man, so this is great. So you've been working with Charles, who's a master passive income coach, for a little while now. What got you started investing in real estate? And tell us a little bit about yourself, and then what's your eventual vision, your goals for your real estate investing?
Okay, so I think what got me into it, I've bought and sold a few houses in the past. Typical buy a house to live in, remodel it, and sell it for a profit, which gets you excited about the whole thing. And then I actually had a fourplex in Phoenix when I lived down there, which was fun. And I had it with a friend, and we sort of butted heads. So that went away. So I've always had an interest in it. And it was only the past couple of years since I moved to Minneapolis that unfortunately I got divorced about 18 months ago. And once we sort of got the finances sorted, I was able to then focus on doing what I wanted to do, which was I've always wanted to get back into real estate. So I wanted to do a little research. I came across you on YouTube, watched some videos, right? And then signed up for a couple of free courses. I think I paid, $10 from one of your YouTube shows or podcasts for the Greenlight Analyzer. And then I bought your course. It's just digging a little deeper each time. And the course was great. So much information. But as we all know, information isn't going to get you to take the first step. You've got to, I know myself. So I joined the group coaching, which was great too. But I know myself, I need to know someone is holding my hand through the process. So then I signed up I spoke to Charles, and then I signed up for the coaching, and that was what got me over the goal line.
That's terrific. And we have both Charles and myself both doing coaching, and it's so much fun for me, and I know Charles as well, because I've talked to you plenty of times, Charles. It's just so much fun when we see our students become successful. So talk to us, Charles, about working with Lee to getting that first property under his belt. And now we know that he's got multiple properties now, and it's still moving and growing. So talk to us a little bit about that. And then Lee, let us know how we can, how ourselves should jump into this real estate investing game.
Yeah, that is so awesome, Dustin, what you mentioned. And I remember, Dustin, like you and I, we speak about this all the time. It's so amazing. Like when we have students that do even better than us, like I
It
mean, we
sure
just
is.
love that. Like Lee, like literally, like I want you to be more successful than me. Dustin, the same way when Dustin coached me, and this is so amazing to like for me to be coached by Dustin and then for me to coach you, Lee, it's just so amazing, like for us to like be on this together. And so just what I love about you, Lee, is I know you came in and you had like big goals. You wanted to achieve your goals, and we started off by documenting Lee's goals, and we were able to have those goals up. And have it in the front of us each time to see where he wanted to go, and we adjusted those goals over time. And Lee has some nice personal big goals too, which is awesome. And so I would say, to answer your question, Dustin, how we got started like from first setting the goals, and so we can be on the same page and to figure out what's the best way that I could serve him as his coach to help him achieve his goals.
That's great. And so, Lee, going through those goals and then seeing the vision for the direction that you want to go, how did that help you in making sure that you're going to keep moving in the direction you want to go?
Well, it gives you clarity on what to do, but also it brings everything to life. If there is a reason for you to do this and you know the end game, or not even the end game, like I have a goal of where I want to be in 12 months, which is, like you say, successfully unemployed, right? I
Yeah.
I want now whether, I still love what I do. I'm a personal trainer and I'll still do some of it, but I'll do it if I want to on my schedule when I'm in town. So we've set quite an aggressive goal, me and Charles, of, being in 12 months passive income. I don't know if you want me to talk numbers, but I can't.
Please do.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. I don't need too much. 5 grand will get me, I could live quite happily. Right. So we've set a goal. We need about 10 to 12 properties performing at the level of the ones that I've found so far to get me there. So that brings it to life. That when you're in the minutia and the weeds of researching properties, putting offers in, being rejected or just being ghosted, or being told no, knowing why you're doing all this makes it so much, just keeps it a front of mind of this is why we're doing this. This is why it's 8 o'clock on a Friday night and you're digging into Zillow, you know, and why? Because I can see where I could be in 12 months' time. And we definitely, reach for the stars. You might land on the moon, but we've kind of hit the ground running a bit, Charles, haven't we? It got a bit fast, a bit quick for me, but I couldn't be more excited for where we're at. So
Yeah, Lee. And you've done so fantastic so far, Lee. Just I know it's big goals. So Dustin will tell you like every student, they come with different goals. Some students may just want one property in 12 months. Some students want two properties. And so you had this big goal, and that reminded me of me too. And I had this big goal, and Dustin really helped me to achieve those goals. I was in your shoe. I was like, man, I want like 12 properties in 12 months. And so Dustin really helped me to create a plan to achieve that goal. And so you've done, Lee, let's talk about this some more because were able to close on 3 properties totaling 6 rental units within 3 months. Man, that's just awesome.
um, yeah, from day one, researching, I sent you a million properties, or we didn't even know initially where to look. I started, I live in Minneapolis, and you start looking there and you go negatives, nothing works. So then you zoom out on Zillow and find a little plot. And then I came across a great little, place in Iowa that just started working. And I don't know how many properties I sent you, Charles. And I made so many mistakes too. I was like, this one's a winner. And you've got your real estate taxes completely screwed up, Lee. And then it was like, oh, that's not going to work. Or, but it was like Dustin preaches right from the start, build the business. So I got my LLC set up, bank accounts, etc. But then I spoke to property managers in the area I wanted to invest, realtors, get the team set up. So I had that. And, we just kept looking at properties, sent them over to the realtor, ran them by the property manager. And then, it was just constant. It was every day putting something in. And then I found a fourplex that just, my realtor was like excited. My property manager was like, we're in. I send it over to you. It's cash flowing, right off the bat. Everybody was like thumbs up. And I sent it over to a couple of other friends. And for me, it's safety in numbers. The more people that got eyes on it, and we put our offer in and we got accepted. Then I found my realtor's like, there's this cool little single family home that I think would be a real winner. Because once
So
he could
hold on, Lee. Let's because
Sorry.
you got that first property. It was a fourplex, correct? That's awesome. So you got that fourplex under your belt. How quickly after getting that first one did the second one come?
No, we closed them on the same day.
Because a lot of people, when they start working with us, they're taking forever on their own trying to buy their first property, and then they start working with us, and it takes time because you got to learn, you got to build. There's some work you got to do, but once you build that business, once you're ready to move forward, then usually that second property comes within a week, maybe a month, 2 months at the very most, because you've already done all the hard work. And so it sounds like the exact same place or way for you.
Yeah, the first one I overanalyzed, I ran through Charles, and then, the second one, once my realtor, you got to build a little trust with your realtor. He needs to know that you can go through with the deal too, because up until then you're just dancing a little bit. And so, the second one came along and I, did the numbers, and that was a cash deal. But not my cash, kinda. So it just so happened.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Yeah, that sounds awesome.
I was able to borrow some money at a very good rate against some stock that I had. Because I was going to sell stock to purchase, and then I found out I could borrow against it, and it still cash flows up the wazoo. So I was like, well, let's go for it, because I could pay cash for this house. And it just so happened we closed on the same day on the same two properties. But the second one was so much easier and so much, well, not easier in the process, but in my mental, I'd done the first one and I knew that was good. And that I had a mortgage on that, an investment mortgage through my LLC. So there's obviously 10 times more paperwork. And there was a few touch and go moments where we weren't sure if that one was going to close. But in the end, we closed two on the same day. So there was lots of, emails going back and forth, racing out to notaries. You know the deal. So
Lee, let's touch on that some more, right? So you talked about the first deal and the things that were going on. There was it was a emotional roller coaster, and you did some things to overcome some of the obstacles you faced, which is so great because you were a problem solver. We solved these problems together. Let's talk about that some more, because it was a reason why you closed the two properties on the same day.
Yeah, and just to go back to Dustin's question, I wouldn't be this far along, and I don't want to. I wouldn't be this far. I would still be analyzing and Zillowing if it wasn't for you, right? Because I needed that hand-holding of Lee. This is a good deal. The numbers speak, and so it was really nerving to put that first offer in, and when it gets accepted, it is a mixture of absolute fear and excitement. So I wouldn't have done any of this without you. So I want to give you thanks, on this sort of public forum right now, again, of helping me make that first step. And then when we got the second step, it was a lot easier. But the first step, I made that. I got a lender. We just couldn't close.
And hey guys, get my real estate investing course absolutely for free. Text the word rental, RENTAL to 33777. Rental to 33777. And I'll literally give you my real estate investing course showing you how to find an area of the country to invest, how to build the business first, how to scale the business, buy the right properties, making $250 or more every single month in passive income. I'll literally just give it to you. You can get started investing right away. Text the word rental to 33777.
And I wanted more and more information. And literally, it was so much back and forth. We weren't sure if we were going to close. And then it was, the mistake I made was not having a second lender ready to go so it worked out. There was 1.2 days before we closed where the lender was like, we're done. We're not going to move forward. So, it was crazy. And I was texting you all day long. They're going to do. But it worked out. My mortgage processor jumped through hoops. I jumped through hoops. But we got the deal done. And now everybody's happy.
So how important is the idea of building the business first? And what what tips did you learn along the way that you could pass along to anybody listening?
Oh, mate, it's everything in your course, man. It's everything. Look, I just followed it step by step. So here I went to my corporation and set up my LLC, and you told me to do it for Wyoming. So I do it for Wyoming, I followed everything you told me, mate. That's it. That's all I did. My bank account's with Novo because you told me to go Novo. And that's they're really cool, right? So everything you told me to do, I did that first because that's easy stuff, right? A few bucks to, and you tell us exactly how to set up what options to go through my course. I just did that. So that's easy stuff. I could do that, I just followed the course, followed the videos, all that kind of thing. But then it was again, I just follow the course to identify. I got started very negative looking at Minneapolis because real estate has exploded here. Just like Phoenix is even worse. Just like California is even worse. But you zoom out and you look for those little red clusters, exactly what you tell us to do. And then I found a little cluster in Iowa, and I'd never been to this place, about 6 hours away, but there's lots of clusters. You set all your Zillow that you tell us to do. That's all I did, I just followed, I call it FTDI, follow the damn instructions, and so that's what I did. I followed because that is black and white. It's do this, do this, do this. And then I, zoomed out, moved over, checked an area out. But then there's some nuances because states are different. So Iowa is pretty friendly to landlords. But this area where I'm investing is called the Quad Cities. And across the river is Illinois, completely different. Double the real estate taxes, right? And very tenant friendly. So I looked at deals that on paper looked amazing. Then you find out there's tenants 9 months in arrears on rent and they can't get them out. So you walk away from that one. So I found this pocket. It's totally working for me. So not only did we start moving on the second one, then a third one popped up. And I was like, I think I can do this as well. I had to juggle finances to make it work. But that one closes, that was supposed to close the same day as well. I was really panicking, wasn't I, Charles? I was like, I'm closing on 3 properties in the same day.
Yeah. I love it.
I'm glad it's actually, I'm not, it doesn't make a difference whether you bought 2 or 3 in the end. It's just another signature on the online paperwork program, So that one's a little delayed with title with the seller. So should close this week. If not, again, I'm going to follow your advice, and I'm not going to close like on the 1st or the 2nd. I'm going to push it to the 5th. Get the rent in like you teach us, right? So if we don't close in the next day or two, I'm saying we're not closing until the 5th of May.
Smart. And that's exactly, well, I would personally say the 6th. You want to let that 5th close over so that 6th is there. They have the cash. If they don't have the cash, which is great, meaning they have to pay it in your pocket, even if they never received it from the tenant, they have to pay you, give you credit for it. So yeah, it's great. Now, when you're going through all these different types of financing and different scenarios, working with Charles, what's great that Charles and I love to do is give all the options that you could possibly figure out in your investing strategy, and then you make the decision on what's the best for you. And so talk to us about getting financing, because that's usually one of the biggest questions outside of finding a property. People always say, oh, how do I get financing to do it? But there's so many ways to do it. Talk to us about how working with Charles has helped you to make sure you get the financing for all these properties.
Absolutely. And it is the financing, right? So like I said earlier, I got divorced, right? So everything was joint with my ex. So I'm starting afresh, right? I'm like a new person, 18 months ago, right? I'm also a personal trainer. The past 2 years, if you work in the fitness industry, gyms have been closed, right? So my W-2s are a joke, right? So no one's lending me money to buy a house based off of my W-2s or anything, right? So I had to go shopping for an investment loan that doesn't take they take my credit, which is fine, but they're not taking my W-2s and my income as part of the mortgage process. So there are mortgages out there based off of the property and the rental income. So I shopped around and found those. Now, the interest rates are a little higher, closing costs are a little higher, but that's what I had to do to get me invested.
And the great thing about that is we don't pay those things. We have the tenants make sure that they pay for them, meaning we buy the property right, and we make sure that everything's accounted for. Like, we don't have to get a job to pay for all this. No, we're building the business and we're buying the right inventory that's going to fit in our rental market. And so that with that financing, tell me, if you don't mind sharing,
sure,
when all 4 of these are closed, how much do you project the passive income from all 4 of these units?
So I'm going to pretend, even though I bought 2 of them cash, we're already starting the refi process, right? They will both, we'll be looking at almost 3 properties, over $1,000 in passive income.
Whew.
And we haven't even played yet. They're all under market rents as well. So I spoke to my property manager, and I think once leases turn over, there's at least $30 to $50 on some of them per unit that we can bump up. Over 6 units, you're talking another $300 in income, even more. One of the houses, we're going to do a little remodel to it, only $5,000, but it'll make it that much more desirable. And I'll tell you a number. I paid $48,000 for it. I'm going to put about 7, 8 into it. It's going to rent for $1,000 a month. Okay, it's not bad. It's not too. And same with the second one. I paid 46.5. Now that's a bit more. That's rented right now, very under market, but it still cash flows a little bit. So I'm in no rush to do any major remodels. But then I can refinance them. They're both going to appraise around anywhere from 85 to 95,000 each.
That's phenomenal. So you're refinance and pull that cash out and do it all over again?
Tax-free, baby.
Amen.
Do it. Wash, rinse, repeat. So, now I've got to wait a couple of months for that to do it, but we can, my mortgage guy's already on it. And my second mortgage guy that I'm going to have the 2 guys now, or girls, sorry, 2 companies that I've sort of, that know me a little bit now. So we're going to refi with one of those. I'll pull all my capital out and make a nice tidy profit to go and buy more property and do the whole thing over. So we're in a little holding pattern, although Charles and I had a coaching session a couple of weeks ago, week and a half ago, about complete private money, because otherwise I'm sat in a holding pattern until I refi, because I've tapped out all my resources. So now we're looking at private money, hard money, that could potentially finance 100% of the property.
Absolutely. And, for anyone who don't know what private money is, it's pretty much borrowing money from an individual rather than going to the bank. And this is something that we use all the time. We teach our students how they use too. And I'm so excited, Lee, that you're actually going to be tapping into that too, so you can continue investing and you can have multiple ways of buying properties. You talked about refinancing the properties. You also, using private money and hard money. And didn't you cash in a Bitcoin and bought a property too, Lee? Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So technically, you could say one of these houses only cost me about, 15,000, because Bitcoin went up at the end of 2021, and so I cashed some out. And so I used profit off of Bitcoin to go buy a house. It was it's funny when you start thinking a little bit more open-minded, things happen. So so I borrowed money to buy a fourplex and one and a bit houses, and then sold some Bitcoin to buy that. So I've got, that'll be that'll be six doors, 6 units with very little of my own personal money, out of pocket. Now, yes, you've got appraisals, you've got inspections, you've got earnest money, and that does have to come out. But you're talking, hundreds of dollars, not thousands. So you just got to get creative. And you've opened me up to a ton of ideas. Dustin's courses and, the group chats in the group get you thinking a little different. And so even now I'm like, oh, how else can I pull some money out from somewhere? So, it's really fun.
There are so many ways. Go ahead, Lee.
Sorry, but this is where Charles came in a lot. It's scary. I was nervous. I was like, Charles, literally hundreds of thousands of dollars are going to start moving through my bank account in one direction. And the mind is you're not gambling at Vegas, it's going into investments, but to see that money, so it is a big deal, but that's the importance again of having your team around you going, it's okay. I remember, Charles was like, I remember my first property, so having, all the support of Charles and you and, others in the group, but especially Charles, I got to give him all the props here. He's had my texts late at night. Am I doing the right thing, Charles? It was quite.
Charles mentioned this at the beginning, where it took me about 8 to 9 years before I was really comfortable to be able to say I quit my job. Charles is going to destroy that record. And then Lee, it seems like you're going to be even faster than that. So it's great seeing how when we help other people, we can just see their lives change, which is great. And then we can also help even more people. So it is awesome. Now, Lee and Charles, is there any other ideas or tips or anything that we can wean off of all these awesome things that you got? I mean, 6 units in as little as 3 weeks, I think you said?
Well, when did I start working with Charles? February?
Roughly it's about 6 units in about 3 months, roughly.
3 months.
From start to fit, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would say for a month, 5 weeks, we were just looking, put in some offers. Do you remember, Charles, what I was afraid of? Can you remember that? And Charles had to, hit me over the head several times. putting in low ball offers. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So he was afraid to put in offers at discounts. So that's one of the things we do as investors. We buy properties at discounts, and so that was one of the things, Lee, that Dustin also taught me, because I remember, like, for some reason I was so afraid of, like, going, make an offer lower. And Dustin told me, when you're nervous about putting that offer in, you're offering the right price because you're getting such a great deal. So this is something that we go through as well, and I know it was super helpful for me having Dustin there, just to show me, and I got the deal. And one of the deals, Dustin, you remember, I, Lee, I really thought Dustin was going to cause me to lose this deal, because Dustin kept on telling me go lower, because and I was like, oh my, I said, Dustin, are you sure? Like, I don't want to lose this deal. He said, Charles, the seller is motivated. And I'm so thankful I listened to Dustin advice on that, and I was able to get the deal with like $34,000 in equity upfront. So yeah, man. So
That was so much fun. That was so much fun, especially when they would come down. The seller would come down in their price, and we're negotiating. And I love negotiating. It's one of my favorite things to do. I love it more than poker and everything. Like, it feels fantastic to me to be doing that. And they would counter and say, oh, they drop like 20 grand. And Charles, you said, should I take it? I'm like, no. They literally just showed us their time. Like, if we're playing poker, they're playing with their cards facing us. No, we're not taking that. Go up $1,000 or go up like 1,500, 2,000, whatever, something like that. And they came all the way down. And eventually you got $34,000 off of the asking price. It's because we're investors. We do it the right way. We make sure we make money in 6 different ways: passive income, equity capture, market appreciation, forced appreciation, tax benefits, and mortgage buy down. Like, definitely check out all my YouTube videos and podcasts where I talk about all this sort of stuff, but we can definitely help you to get there. And what's great is, Charles and I, we do this for fun. Like, this is just enjoyable for us because we see our students' lives change. So, man, Lee, this is great. I mean, you give up so many great advice and insights into how you did it, and hopefully people are going to take advantage of this. Now, is there anything else, signing off before we get off, is there anything else that you guys would like to share?
Lee, why don't you share? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Go on. Sorry. No, I would say, like, when I first got into this and read the courses, I was probably like a lot of other people. I'm like, I don't, I've got no credit, or no one's going to give me a mortgage. No one's going to take me serious, and, being a first time again, or first time, second time around, it just follow the system to start. You led the way, Justin, then you train Charles in. It is a system, and get your ducks in a row first. But you've also got to have a passion for this. Like I will sit on Zillow on a Friday night. I'll sit on Zillow at 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning. I love this stuff. It's play. It's fun. So you do have to enjoy it, or find someone that does enjoy it, that, go along for the ride. So it's a bit of follow the system, but have fun with it, and make that first step. And if you are, the one-on-one coaching it's a big investment. It's a big step, but I would not have done any of this if I didn't do it. So to me, it's more than paid for itself already, because I got properties. So yeah, for anybody that's like thinking about it, save up, do what you need to do to get that, be able to make that step, because it's well worth it. I don't know, and Charles has been amazing. So I can't wait to see where we're going to be in 6 months.
Absolutely. Well, Charles and Lee, we'll definitely have to have you guys on again, as they say, 6 months from now, maybe you get to 8, maybe you get 9 or more properties. We'll definitely get on and get an update to see how you're going, because like we always talk about, if it's a business, we just need to get inventory. We need to figure out how to buy the inventory and then put it into our business, and we can continue to scale the business so we can eventually be financially independent. So, hey, Charles and Lee, thank you so much, you guys. I'm really impressed by both of you guys. You guys are doing a fantastic job. So thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Dustin. Thank you for your course, your coaching, your groups. It's so worthwhile.
And that is it for today. Go ahead and get my free real estate investing course. Text the word rental to 33777. RENTAL to 33777. You can also join my Real Estate Wealth Builders group coaching. Get all my courses. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next show. See ya.